Or like what meal you.
Who's filling this out?
Yeah, I asked my friend who, he's a lawyer, and I was like, do you ever pick Squire? I had dropped out, and he's like, no.
You should.
Robert, do you ever pick a Squire?
Every time.
You're on a flight?
I am. People need to know.
We have a quorum. Well, plus if we have Tiffany on,
Tiffany, that we do.
we do.
Yeah.
Right. All right, okay. And we have a quorum. Good evening. This is the November 24th meeting of Manhattan Community Board 5 Transportation Committee. I'm David Sigmund, Chair, joined by Kiran Patel, our new Vice Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you to Kiran for stepping up and to Samir for doing such a good job before that. Yeah, just stepping down, stepping up.
Stepping up.
Any items voted on at this meeting will appear at the full CB5 board meeting on Thursday, December 11th. We have one item on the public agenda today. The Department of Design and Construction will present on the Lexington Avenue Pedestrian Safety Improvements Project, HWMMLEXAV. I know what the last 5 letters stand for, which runs from 41st Street to 48th Streets. And then we have an internal item review of our teams and topics and any new business. So if we can go around the table and online and take attendance of the committee. You can see if you want to.
Nancy Gostrow. Andy Lang.
Robert Tuckman.
Kieran Patel. Samir Levingia.
Will Rothschild.
Zul Salkowitz.
David Sigmund. Oop, you guys want to jump in? We're doing attendance.
Joel Maxman.
Tiffany Revis.
Ankur Dawal.
You guys can introduce yourself.
Charles Baker.
Okay. Before we jump into the agenda, do any members of the public or of the committee have new business they'd like to raise? We do this first so members of the public don't have to wait through all the agenda items if they're here to raise a new topic. Raise your hand if there's anything you want to add to future agenda. Okay. Seeing none, let me walk through what the order of the business is tonight. So DDC will walk us through their package. The rest of the agenda, as I mentioned, is internal. Members of the committee can then ask questions or make comments. After that, we'll take comments from the public. There's no time limit on comments, but we ask that you keep things succinct and avoid repetition. After all public comment has been received, we'll enter the committee business session where only committee members will discuss the matter with no further input from the applicant or the public unless requested by the chair. Finally, if appropriate, we'll craft a motion and take a vote on a resolution. And after the last agenda item, we'll adjourn the meeting. So with that, if the person from DDC wants to identify themselves and anybody volunteering?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, this is Bashar. I'm the engineer in charge of the project. I believe from the design build team, we have Jocelyn. And we have the point of contact for the outreach community office, Marlene. And we have our community construction liaison, Diane.
Hello.
So I'm not sure who will be sharing the screen.
You
Hi,
have to
everyone.
I'll be sharing. My name is Jocelyn Rothstein. I'm the design build project manager from NV5. Just give me 1 second and I'll get my screen up so everybody can see. All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Ken, thanks.
Great. So thanks for having us tonight. I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about our Lexington Avenue Ped Safety Improvement Project. We'll go through our core project team, the location, background, the project intent and goals, the existing conditions, what our proposed improvements are, the community impacts during construction, our community engagement, and then I'll go into a little bit about Envision, where we are with our project schedule and what our project milestones are.
Oh, yeah.
That would be great, thank you.
Hold on 1 sec. We just want to get the volume adjusted here.
Sure.
Yeah, can you try saying something?
Feeling it's on their end.
Oh, Jocelyn, can you just give us a test so we can hear if
Sure. Is this better? Is this louder?
a little better?
Okay, nope.
Can we try it? Jocelyn, can you say something one more time?
Sure. No problem. Is this better?
Yep, thank you.
No problem. Okay. Jumping right in. As I said, my name is Jocelyn Rothstein. I'm the design project manager. The contractor is Dan Cody is for Triumph Construction. I'm not sure if he's on this call. DDC is the managing agency, and then our two sponsors are DOT and DEP. Our limits for this project, we're doing some surface work at the intersection of 41st Street and Lexington Avenue. And then we are working from 45th Street to 49th on Lex. And then on 49th Street from Lex to 3rd Avenue.
So let me just, for 1 sec,
Sure.
unless you have a slide that addresses it. So Lex is the dividing line between CB5 and CB6, which we saw when we looked at the 43rd Street project.
Yes.
So we are really just the sort of left-hand side of
Okay.
Lex. This, even though, we're looking at the totality of the project, that's the only part that's in our district.
Gotcha. Thank you for that clarification.
Okay.
So a little bit of a history of this project. It's initiated as part of the Greater East Midtown rezoning, and is also part of the Vision Zero program. As you'll know out there, it's an in-house DOT project. They put out all of those striped curb extensions, both on the west and east side of Lexington Avenue. And so what we're addressing is we are now going to be implementing some of what DOT put out. The reason that we're not doing anything building out the sidewalk on the west side is due to the Grand Central Station train shed. It made the project a little bit too complex for what DDC envisioned as their first design build project. So because this is design build, we broke our project up into 3 phases. Package 3 is going to be all the surface work. It's everything that you're going to see. And it is what we're still working on in our design right now, which is mainly focused on accessibility, including curb extensions, ped ramp upgrades, incidental drainage, traffic signals, APS, wayfinding, pavement markings, etc. The first 2 packages that we designed were all water main related. Those are what's currently in construction now, which I'm sure you guys have seen and heard about. And I believe you also got all of our mass mailing packages for 1 and 2 as well. All right, so for package 3, the surface work, what you'll see on the left is sort of the existing conditions, and on the right is what's proposed. So at the intersection of 41st Street, The only real change will be the curb extension, on the southeast corner. But we will be also removing that pink granite that's there currently and putting back standard, dark concrete. Pigmented concrete, sorry. From 45th to 46th, the changes will be the curb extensions again on the east side, both at 45th and 46th Street as shown. Same thing on 47th and 48th. One of the big things to note here is that the striped ped space that's on the west side of Lexington Avenue will remain. So this is just a rendered section of what Lexington Avenue will look like when it's done. And then following this, I also have a little video of a walkthrough of what it'll look like in the future.
We're doing all that work on this.
This is actually taken from a bus.
We're just going reverse.
Yeah. But still slowly.
Yes.
Line 74.
Yeah.
Video's not that long. It's almost done. But it's just to give you an idea of the feel of what you'll see out there. But ideally with a lot more people than what's in this video here. Okay, I'll touch on some of the community impacts during construction, but if you have any questions, you know, Diane is here. She is our amazing
Hi, everyone.
community contact. I'm sure you've noticed, you've seen the temporary, the lane closures, temporary loss of parking, temporary bus relocations. I know there's a lot of active water main shutdowns that have been going on for a while now. And the biggest thing on this project, which I'm sure is affecting your community members, is the variable work hours. We are working with DOT OCMC regularly and coordinating with them and making sure we have their approval on what work we can do during the day, what work we can do during the evening hours, and where that work can be. Diane has been sending out all of the work notices. I don't know if there's anything you want to say on that, Diane.
Yes, sure. So for the water shutdowns, importantly, we're doing that at night due to the complexity of the area with the businesses. So a standard water main shutdown would be 9 to 5 or 10 to 6 overnight. We've been requested by many businesses here, so we took that into consideration for the shutdowns, especially.
Thanks, Diane.
No problem.
Again,
So
oh,
So this
sorry.
is my information. I'm the community construction liaison in the project. I'm sorry, Jocelyn. And my information's here if anybody wants to be added on to the distribution list. And the website is here as well, the project website. If anybody wants to take a look at it, there's updates there on a consistent basis. So yes, sorry. Go ahead, Joss.
No problem. Thanks, Diane.
No problem.
So she took care of that part for me, but I think the biggest thing I want to note is that we look at community engagement. You know, it's meant to be iterative and proactive. So that's why we like to come and meet with the community boards. I believe you have received mass mailing 1 of our package 3 set, which shows all of our surface work. So if you have any comments or concerns, now would be, or within the next few weeks would be the best time to let us know. As we'll be moving on to mass mailing 2 in the next month or so. Envision is another priority for us. Purpose of Envision is to foster necessary involvement in the performance and resiliency of our physical infrastructure across the full spectrum of sustainability. Envision itself provides a framework and incentives needed to initiate a systemic change. It's a guidance tool, and Envision provides industry-wide sustainability metrics for all DDC infrastructure types. Right now, DDC for this type of project requires a silver award, but we are striving to reach a gold award. This is a high-level overview of where we are with our project schedule. Everything in gray is what we've already completed, which largely shows all of our site investigations, our design of package 1 and package 2, which was all the water main work. And all we have left from a design standpoint is package 3, which is all your surface work. For construction, water main has been in construction since the end of 2024. As I'm sure you all know, utility work in New York City, especially Manhattan, is a challenging process. So that work is continuing to be ongoing. And then we're looking to target starting the package 3 work, I believe, in February of 2026. So as early as possible, and then we will try and keep the impact short in the community. We kind of want to get in and out as quickly as possible. Right now with our target substantial completion in the spring of 2028. Again, this is just our major milestones. Substantial completion for package 2 has already happened. The water main on 49th Street is already in. Substantial completion for package 1 on the Lexington Avenue water main. We're targeting this June. And we are, as I mentioned, we're starting with, it'll be probably April by the time they get out there for the package 3 work, which is all of what you'll see when it's finished. With the completion being in June of 2028. Are there any questions?
I have a question about slide 10, I guess 9 and 10. We're on the west side, so I'm not gonna comment on anything on the east side. I just wanted to understand, when you're doing this project, how much of the street and sidewalk are you ripping up? I'm a little bit, sorry, there's like a siren outside. I don't know if you can- But, I'm just a little concerned or curious about why we're not taking the opportunity to do a real sidewalk extension with pavement and concrete instead of just redoing the painted version that we have today. Can you explain a little bit why we're not upgrading that?
I can explain a little bit, but Marlon or Besher, I don't know if you want to field that question.
Hi, Justin. I think the question is why we're not building concrete sidewalks and actual sidewalks. Actually, that's what we're doing. So all the pavement marking will be upgraded to a concrete sidewalk on the the east side.
On the east side, not on the west side, though.
Yes.
Right, so I'm trying to ask why not on the west
Okay.
side?
Oh, okay. Why not on the west side? So the west side, when we started the project, we reached out to Metro North. Metro North, they have their shed, which is a structure that is holding all Grand Central. So we could not do this work unless they come upgrade their work. So the shed has to be worked on by Metro North first. So we could not hold that project or combine this project, as Metro North, it's their own entity, it's not under the city. So we could not combine these two projects together. So I mean, the city will have in the future a better plan to address the situation with Metro North.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
So just as a little, what we are doing is really, it's anything you see in that dark gray. That's the extent of the sidewalk work that we'll be doing.
Oh,
Any other questions? So we had a presentation, I think at our last meeting, 2 meetings ago, from DDC on a major water main project that was running down 7th Avenue from roughly 34th to 14th Street. And they presented us with some graphics on how the phasing and staging of the project would happen. So it was kind of easy for us to post that on our website, and it showed, you know, in that case, it was 4 quadrants in the order in which they were going to tackle the quadrants. Do you have any other information on kind of how the work is going to be, you know, phased over time? And then the other question that comes up is if there are storage areas, where are they located? You know, we've had concerns about storage areas that become sites of vagrancy after work hours, and whether whether these areas are properly lit. And so do you think there'll be other materials you can share with us that as opposed to, you know, weekly notices of where work is happening, to give people more of a heads up on what you think the phasing of this is going to be?
I can answer that question because I'm also the engineer in charge for that project. I'm ED 669, which is the water main distribution on 7th Avenue. So these two projects are kind of different. That project is over 48 blocks in New York City, but Lexington Avenue, what we have here is only 4 blocks. The phasing was different, but because over there we kind of looking for replacing as much water main as we can. Over here, the design builder phased this project into three phases. And the work took place on all the blocks at the same time. Maybe we started 49th Street a little bit later after we started the work on Lexington Avenue. And the first phase for this project is the water main, and that's the first phase. This is the second phase is the water main on 49th Street between 3rd Avenue and Lexington Avenue. And this is the third phase that we are presenting right now. So we are working on all locations at the same time, trying to get this work wrapped up and give it back to the community as much as we can. And that's the point of design build projects, where we are designing, taking the first phase while we have the design team doing the design for water main and collecting some data for the highway work. So this is the phase 3, which is the last sequence. I mean, we can prepare material that shows location map where the work is taking place. We already have our storage area, as you guys can see in the community right now. So nothing much will change. If there will be additional storage area, we'll definitely reach out, notify you, send you a PDF that's showing the location.
So all right, so just within the, what you're calling phase 3, the pedestrian improvements. Is that work going to proceed in a particular direction, or is it all happening? You're going to take all of it at the same time? Is there a breakdown of, where and when work will be happening within phase 3 itself?
So the sequence of work will follow the sequence of the water main. So right now we're starting from 45th Street and going north. So once we finish the water main, it will be followed by the corner or the pedestrian improvement work.
Mm-hmm.
So we can send you, yes, we can send you a sequence that will be posted for you.
Yeah, that would be great. And if you can identify, where this storage area is, and if it's staying, fine, indicate that. But if you think it's moving, it would be helpful to give people, some awareness of that.
Definitely, we'll do that.
Yep.
Just to follow up on that, are these, are your construction trailers lit 24/7 so the sidewalk is not dark? What's your plan to electrify and light the construction trailers?
So, I mean, right now, as you know, there are pedestrian and scaffolding and sidewalk sheds all over the place, and these are built in LED. And it's a requirement from the Department of Buildings to have these lit. So it's already lit by the scaffolding in the area for each building.
Yeah.
Can you go back to the schedule really quickly that you put on screen? I think there was a presentation maybe 2 months back about the shared street, which was
43rd.
43rd and 44th. So it seems like this maybe is an extension or part of that. I'm wondering how that timeline sequences with the work that's being done for that project.
Hi, this is Marlene Nunez from DDC's Outreach Unit. That project is still currently in design and not expected to start. We don't anticipate overlap, but if there is, we will keep the community board updated of the timeline for that project.
And is there like an intersection between where the two projects cross, given they're both on Lexington and one seems to end on 44th and one starts in 45th?
My understanding is that there's not, but I will follow up with the exact project location details and I'll forward that to Marissa, the district manager.
Did you ever follow it? Yes. Yeah. Okay, are there any comments from anybody on the public? Anybody? So I guess for DDC, are you asking us to issue, you know, a resolution in support of the project? Is there some specific, you know, action on our part you're looking for?
Yes, normally, for presentations, we do ask for a letter of support from the community board, which will be provided to the design team at DDC.
Okay. I mean, similar to what we've done, I guess, on a couple of these things now, we would summarize the scope of the project. We would summarize, you know, the questions and comments that were made. And, you know, we would approve the project, and whether it's a letter or a resolution doesn't really make a difference. So whatever format works. So unless somebody has anything they want to add to that.
I think the only thing I would add is just somewhere in there saying, you know, we hope in the future that, I don't know, DDC can work with Metro North to get all those types of things done at once, instead of having to do this project and then a couple of years
Right.
later, we're gonna do it again, the sidewalk.
Right, right, then, well, that'll be in our district, then we'll really care.
Yeah. So I think that's the only thing.
Okay. All right, so,
I would like to add in that we'd like to have the construction trailers have lighting on them, lighting the sidewalk and not be dependent on sidewalk sheds owned by private building owners, but actually by the company that is owning the construction trailers. And that the lights be on 24/7 electrified, not powered by generators that make a lot of noise that generally are turned off.
okay,
Something to that effect.
anything else? Anything that anybody remembers from 43rd Street that we would, or the water main?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I just want to say we don't have any trailers on this project.
Oh,
And we're working at night, and we do have a light on as we're working. We're working within some barriers that we have. But there's no trailers that we have on this project. I just
And
wanted to
the-
make a note of that.
and the storage area, is that
The
lit?
storage area moves with us, so we have a storage area that's close to where we're working. That's usually how we're working this project. So the storage area, as we're moving along, we just completed Lex between Lex and Third. There's a storage area there because we're working on the intersection of Lex and 49th Street. So that will probably be moving with us as we move towards 48th Street. So we move it along. We don't keep it there.
Okay,
Yeah.
And I would also just like to add for the DDC and the design team to consider the current proposed schedule for the 43rd Shared Street, which I think was anticipated to start construction in 2027 for 3 years, and just how it overlaps or interplays with the schedule contemplated here.
okay. If there's nothing else, then somebody want to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, second. All right, your first vote. We're not gonna sue you or anything.
Or vote you out.
You're out, yeah.
To the vote.
Do the vote.
Baker. Aye.
Aye.
Little plots.
Concord,
Alker,
Yes.
DNC,
Yes.
Lord,
yes.
here, yes. Tiffany?
Yes.
Will? Yep. David?
Yep.
Robert? Yes. Kelly?
Yeah.
Jamie,
Yes.
School? Aye. And Joel?
Yes.
Sorry, 14 people voting. Absence.
Yeah, as long as it's a quorum. Okay, now the difficult part. Who would like to volunteer to run this through ChatGPT or whatever you do and spit out the summary that we discussed? Oh, thank you, Mandy. So let's see, when is the, so sometime middle of next week? Great.
So ChatGPT is running our resolution.
Well, I mean, on things like this, I mean, people have been feeding the video into, you know, to get a transcript, everything is happening. Okay, great. Thanks very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
So are you able to put the team and topic thing up on the screen?
Nice shot of the cookies.
Yeah, I think I'll have a cookie. You like these?
Yeah, they're good.
I'm addicted.
Is it like, want another one? You're okay?
Yeah, I don't want another one.
Another one? Which one do you want?
I'm okay, thank you.
Yeah, they're not too.
Maria? They're Spanish.
You got them in Spanish.
I got them downstairs.
What happens? in the picture? Almost there.
From. Tried to find Thanksgiving candy corn, but couldn't.
Who wants that? Yeah.
Well, I don't. I'll surround. Yeah. Share.
Righty. Okay, sure. Sure. So, oops, you can go back up. So on the Waymo thing, I think Marisa put in a request to DOT to provide us the data on this, and some of the other community boards have, we had a session, I think a week or two ago, with CB4 and CB6. And so this came up for discussion. And so everybody's very interested in seeing if we get anything and what it says. So coordinate with Marissa on that. Yeah, what's that one? I don't know, is there anything to talk about on bike lane safety and Joel, are you
No,
still
he had to get off, but he
Okay.
messaged me and he just said he didn't have any updates on it
okay?
as of today, so.
Let's fix down. Oh, so what do you think your timing is, Tiffany? Is it this at the next meeting, at the, whatever it is, January meeting?
Yeah, I went by the office today and I picked up all the postings and Isabel and I posted in all 7 locations today.
Oh, great.
Everything is up on our website and our transportation committee with access to all of the DOT information as well as like the comments and feedback. So now it's just about getting information from the public. And Marisa said that when she spoke to DOT, this is what she just told me today, when she spoke to DOT, they're still looking more at like spring, mid of next year.
Okay.
But
Well,
I'll give an update with anything that I've gotten back as far as feedback from the postings and from our website.
Okay. And this is another one where the other community boards expressed interest in kind of riding along with us on this.
Yeah, so I had a meeting with CB7, Upper West Side. They're the ones who actually rolled out the pilot in April of this year and had a lot of good information from them in the sense that they didn't have this time ahead like we have. So there was a lot of information they didn't have, and they didn't have information to post out to the public or get public feedback. And so they're just kind of rolling with it as they go. But all the things that I had talked about trying to get our public feedback in our district prior to it rolling out, they thought was really helpful. And we all just talked about how we were going to keep in communication with one another on this project, as well as other ones that we can kind of combine together.
Okay. Yeah, so CB4 and CB6, in
Yeah.
a lot of cases we overlap. Plus, so I think we're gonna try and figure out a way to kind of keep them up to speed as well on
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Yep.
Or we could just recommend that everything be pushed to the west side of 8th Avenue or the whatever piece of the live.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Nothing to do on this. So, did anybody pick up this Uber shuttle idea? I think, okay, anything to, what?
Names to current names.
Well, it's not lined up on those are the members. Column B are the members and C, and it's not necessarily
Oh, okay.
mapped from
Okay.
one from column A.
I
Yeah,
was confused.
yeah, no, I understand that. We could sort of try and move pieces around, but, okay.
Yeah, so I did some research on the Uber airport shuttles. So Uber is the booking platform through which the shuttle operates, and they're operated by the LS Transportation Service, which is a private fleet operator that's based in Brooklyn, Queens, and typically used by airline crews for transportation as well as charters. But they now offer services through Uber shuttle for airport transportation for the general public. They do have like a DOT number as well as motor carrier number licenses. Unclear whether or not it's operating under the TLC or DOT right now for its jurisdiction, which creates a bit of this like loophole, if you will, or regulatory grayness. If it's through like a DOT jurisdiction, if they operate with a scheduled service or a fixed route, which in this case, the Uber airport shuttle does, because when you're in the app, they do have like times for when pickup happens in certain locations. They are technically required to obtain a DOT bus stop permit for every curbside stop they do per the traffic rules of New York City, which would require a 45-day comment and review period where CD5 would be notified. So if we were not previously notified of an application for Alice Transportation Services or Uber, then it's possible they're operating on unauthorized bus stops right now. If they are operating through the TLC system, then TLC licenses, licensed vehicles do not require DOT bus stop permits. But they're not allowed to stand or have layovers at curbs. So there is a little bit of a grayness where Uber does state publicly on their website that drivers will only wait for 2 minutes for a passenger to get on. But they do have scheduled departure times, and there is a potential violation if they have built-in dwell times or they wait until the time at which they are set to depart. And so, and also practically speaking, if they are loading like a bunch of suitcases and like waiting for passengers, realistically, they probably would be staying at a stop for longer than what is, you know, normally acceptable. So there could be a couple different violations here where they may be at unpermitted bus stops if you don't have a valid DOT permit for those stops. They may be in violation of layovers if they are waiting on a schedule and not actively loading during that time. They may be blocking traffic if they're double parking or blocking traffic. And also they may be required to have specified authorized zones. In terms of next steps, I think we would likely need to contact DOT and or TLC representatives to confirm if they would classify the operations as an intercity bus service, given the fixed nature. And if so, if permit applications were filed. And then separately with TLC, confirming if they're licensed by TLC and if they have special permits to stop at the curb for their scheduled departures. And then lastly, I'm not exactly sure who we would ask this, but if there are any special franchise agreements or pilot agreement waivers that could allow them to bypass standard rules. So maybe something we signed with the city. So those are potential, potential next steps to confirm.
Okay, so, I mean, would we be sending a letter to DOT and a separate letter to TLC, or is this basically to the two of them saying one of you has to step up on this, or?
This is not a limousine. This is multiple passengers being picked up.
Yeah.
Disparate multiple passengers. This is not a limousine service. This is a bus service.
Okay,
And I think we have to take that position.
but that would be us basically sending a letter to DOT saying you guys own this. You
Yes.
guys have
Yes,
to license this, you
yes,
know?
exactly. I think that that's the case.
I mean, so I mean, whatever your source was on this, is this a gray area or is it really one masquerading as the other, or?
I think because they operate on a fixed schedule with fixed stops, they are in effect operating as a bus service, if you will, to the airport. I think to Nancy's point, I think sending an email perhaps initially more as a fact-finding confirmation to understand what the classification was and if there were any permits filed, I think would be a good step. We can start by stating, we believe this would represent a bus operation and would like to confirm if you have any permits, applications that you've, you know, filed for this. And, you know, we can also figure out if there was something filed, like why haven't they informed CD5 and gone through the review period with us?
Have you had a chance to talk to Marisa about this?
Not, I just wanted to confirm what appropriate steps were here first.
Marisa has a position on this.
Well, she has had some contact with DOT and how the issue was raised, so I think she believes it's, you know, a DOT responsibility. And nobody has done anything and Uber is trying to ignore it.
I believe that we should say what we think it is and let DOT tell us otherwise. I think if we just ask questions, everyone's gonna say, no, my yard, you know, that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I mean, we could start with, you know, you just coordinate with Marisa and we'll send an email to our contact at DOT and say, this is something we're tracking and we believe, you know, you have responsibility for this. Can you, you know, give us the background on what's going on here? And then at that point, we could, you know, take a more formal stance on it.
See, to me, a limousine service is you call and you make an appointment and someone picks you up. That's a limousine. That's not what this is. Is it?
Right, and well, I mean, Uber's running it through the same system that is a TLC regulated operation, so that's the gray area, I suppose. You got on the same Uber app, you do the same things you would if you wanted a car, but then you walk to a fixed location, so I suppose that's the gray area.
So if that's the case, then Academy Baskets could go onto the Uber application and book passengers through Uber there. And I don't,
Right. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they're definitely trying to take advantage of them.
yes.
What are the typical bus stops that they're making? Are these between hotels and the airport?
There are a couple of designated locations. I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 for JFK and then about the same for the LaGuardia shuttle stops. They're typically at highly populated locations like Grand Central, it's 42nd and Lex. Chelsea, it's 23rd and 6th, just Greenwich Village, Penn Station, Port Authority, Union Square. So I think they're like located in the most concentrated populous areas for where there's
Pick up from a transportation hub to the airport.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not necessarily a
Yeah.
fixed location though, because
Yeah.
we recommended near where I live.
Mhm.
And so we recommended it to a friend. And so she signed up in advance and then they basically said, we won't be able to tell you where to go until 10 minutes before.
They do have location addresses specified on their
Yeah.
site, so it's like. For the one in Chelsea, it's 700 6th Avenue in front of the Paris Baguette, that's what it says. And then for Grand Central, it's 120 East 42nd in front of Apple Bank. So they
Right.
have like generally like in front of this address.
Yeah, so in this case, they didn't have a spot at the curb, so they moved someplace else and sent out a notice to anybody that signed up that that's where it was. So anyway, so yeah, have the conversation with Marisa and let's do like an interim step before we, we don't want to really like spring it on DOT, although she's been talking to them and they're aware of the issue, but we can take it up at the next meeting. Great, thank you. I think the active one on this is the School Street thing. We did not get an intern. Marisa is looking at whether is looking at whether other programs might be available to us, but we won't know that for a while. So again, this is one that's just kind of sitting there. It would be nice to just reach out to the dozen schools that are on the list and see if we can get some engagement with them.
I can talk to Marissa and get that list and
Okay,
if there's any contact.
I actually think it's in the drive.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Street blade co-naming policy. I think our last discussion on this was that we were gonna try and just steal from the other community boards and come up with a best practices, sort of what we did with the bylaws. Let's see what everybody else is doing. And then maybe do a little bit of a cut and paste on what that is. So from that group, we just need somebody to volunteer to take that on. And we can hook you up with contacts at the other community boards that are working on this.
Are you volunteering?
Oh, yeah, you need to join you need to join a team now.
I am happy to join that.
We seem happy.
But after my.
I would never join a team that would have me as a member.
When, I guess it would be for the next meeting, maybe the meeting after that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take a look at it and see how much time is involved for a busy law student and.
Well, we would probably want, I'm assuming, some sort of guidelines or list of guidelines, and it is possible that they will be so strict that everything will fail. I don't know if that's what we actually want, but that's a possible outcome. But we'll see what other.
Can I chime in on the history of this? We had so many requests coming that we would have had 4 and 5 and 6 blades on each street in Midtown. And one of the things we thought that was really important is oftentimes the blades are there and the actual street numbers disappear. So the tourists can't find where they are. We can't find where they are because the blades are so prominent. So that's why we had a moratorium on it. It just got so out of control so quickly. Everyone has a wonderful reason to memorialize someone, but in Midtown, there's just too many. In other locations, there aren't as many.
Yeah.
But Midtown is like every actor that's been a star on Broadway, when they die, someone wants to put up a blade. So we can have like 6 or 8 blades on the pole. And it just was overwhelming. So that's kind of why we stopped that.
There was one recently turned down because they said there're just too many signs on the post already.
Yes, if you look around and see, I mean, that's what will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the flip side is that, so now they reach out for our city council member and he calls us and says, what do you think? And we say, we have a moratorium. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to deal with this.
So that makes it easier for the city council member to say no because there's a moratorium. So seriously think about that because it will grow exponentially very, very quickly.
I think the issue is actually because we have a moratorium, the city council member ignores us.
Right.
Because we don't have like a list of guidelines. I think if we had a list of guidelines and we're like, here's why, they would be more likely to say no. We're getting street blades. It's just because our moratorium is being ignored. But if we say, it's because they haven't been dead for long enough, then they have a reason. Or whatever, I don't know. Whatever.
Just as an example.
Yeah.
Okay. On Vanderbilt Avenue, I went on the One Vanderbilt tour and had a conversation with one of the reps from SL Green. And they are interested in being engaged on the question of some sort of pedestrianization of Vanderbilt, since they already closed off the bottom of it with their park. And I don't know if you've been by there, but because of construction on 383 Madison, JP Morgan has closed off the top of Vanderbilt. So at this point, there's like virtually no north-south traffic going on that street. There's a ton of east-west traffic. So I spoke to Marisa. We agreed the next best step is to sit down with Grand Central Partnership. So, and Will volunteered to be part of this. And I was actually going to take a crack, Will, at what we talked about and just borrowing slides from the Broadway Vision stuff that we've seen on like their answer to the same set of problems. I mean, there's no such thing as a pedestrianized street that doesn't allow east-west traffic, right? So, I think the idea would be, this is illustrative of what the solution might be, and we just need to engage the larger group. We want to go talk to SL Green. We want to go talk to JP Morgan. Marisa has reached out to the government contacts there. We'd have to talk to DOT. So in order for this to happen, we have to kind of keep broadening the circle, but I'm happy to take a crack at some PowerPoint slides that would at least be enough to have an icebreaker with all these groups. But yeah, I mean, generally what we heard is everybody that we've spoken to is interested in having a conversation. So.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help you with the slides in any way that I can. I mean, the one that you sent to me looks like it's, needed architectural software to.
Oh, yeah, no, I was literally going to just cut and paste those and say, here's what's proposed on Broadway between 38th and 40th. This is a model for what could happen here, and include all the pretty pictures so everybody can dream and, just get the ball rolling. Because, yeah, I mean, it's the design solution is going to be complicated. But again, let's like shut off at both ends now. So, we're actually not that far from having it pedestrianized. So, all right, I will take a crack at that. There's nothing specific to do on Future of Fifth. I think we're trying to stay in touch with them through the office on what their design schedule is, what's happening with that. Penn Swag, I am the rep for now. So that's the Penn Station Working Advisory Group, which after a year got reconstituted last Monday. And Andy Byford, who just had a call with Eric Botcher, presented the same information that he did on the call today and took the group through what this process is to do an RFP for a public-private partnership and what the components of that would be. And the timing is issue the thing by the end of December, get them back and make a decision by I think the end of May. And they want to keep Penn Swag as the vehicle for getting the word out as the process moves along. They did not have a specific proposal on when this would happen or what would be discussed, because it's sort of a closed process to, we'll see the RFP, we won't see the RFP responses, and we won't know who's picked until it happens. So, so that's the structure of it for now, and I didn't hear anything different. Oh, I'm sorry. The one issue that was raised by us and Community Board 4 at the meeting was this public realm question that if you came in before, it started to come up at the very end of the 5 o'clock conference call, which is that they drew a line like literally around the edges of the building and said, okay, this is the scope of the project. And so we've been saying, well, there was a whole public realm task force while the ESD GGP plan was being done with Vornado and others. And it defined the scope, it made recommendations. We can't ignore that. And we can't also build, a new Penn Station, which Andy Byford mentioned at the end of his comments, that you open the door and you go from being in, brand new land to old decrepit land. So I think everybody recognizes the issue. There isn't really a specific proposal on the table yet for how to deal with it, and it's a funding issue. Because I think Amtrak sees that as somebody else's scope, quite frankly. So it may end up being part of the overall package. If a bidder wants to add that scope and is being urged to add that scope to their proposal, and then the question is, all right, well, who's paying for it? So that would be progress of some sort, if at least the scope of it was picked up in the Penn Station transformation process. So, yeah.
In addition to the swag, Andy Byford committed to pop-ups in the station to keep the public informed, keep the public an opportunity.
On this process?
Yeah.
Oh, good, okay.
And that is May for the master development May. This year, and the construction is supposed to begin the end of 2020.
Right. Okay, and then, so I'll keep the group informed on that, and the presentations themselves are now public documents, and I can ship the link around. They're on the Amtrak website, buried somewhere, so I'll dig that out. And then Samir and I had a call with CB4 and 6 transportation chairs and vice chairs. And so we came up with this list, some of which I've mentioned. CB6 is going to take the lead on a resolution to promote additional crosstown bike lanes in Midtown. Marissa gave me a note. So the DOT is going to be repaving 22nd Street. And they're gonna put in a painted bike lane on 22nd between 5th and 6th, starting in spring of 26. So this discussion really revolved more about what's happening in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So CB6 is gonna take the lead on that, and then we'll take a look at whatever resolution they come up with. We talked about micro hubs. CB4 is taking the lead on a letter that says we've already passed resolutions for busways on 34th and 42nd. And we really, really mean it and would like them to go ahead, particularly because there's a block on the 34th Street one right now. So they'll take the lead on that. I mentioned the Waymo thing, we'll take the lead on that. Police parking issues, you know, this, I'm sure everybody is familiar that cops park, you know, on the diagonal and fill up the entire block of wherever they have a police station. Honestly, we kind of said like, that's not our issue. We don't really have that problem. We don't have those kinds of police facilities necessarily. We have Midtown South parking enforcement on 30th Street, where we get complaints sometimes through the SLAP process. But we don't really have a bunch of these issues, whereas I think CB4 has quite a few of them. So we didn't really volunteer for that one, and nobody else did either. But it's out there. CB4 was calling for a moratorium on additional intercity bus stops while the PADT is under construction. We have effectively had a moratorium because we haven't had an application for one of those in months. And the rate of applications has really dropped. I mean, post-COVID, we were getting these all the time. We haven't had one in a while, and we have kind of a simplified process. So CB4 is going to take the lead on that one. And the last one is that there is a proposal to expand the open dining program. So, you know, it was one thing during COVID, a temporary program. Then the permanent program got passed, which has been very restrictive, and there really haven't been that many of them that were approved. So now there's an attempt to try and kind of open them up. But one of the impacts is that it would reduce the clear path on sidewalks. I forget the specifics. Do you remember?
Yeah,
12 to 8 or
Yeah,
something?
basically, when they pass outdoor dining, specifically for not the curbside, on the curb, not in the roadway, like this is on the sidewalk. They changed it from, I don't know what it was before, but now that they have a map and they basically like, what type of corridor is this? Is this a regional corridor? Is this like a global corridor? Are there a ton of people walking here? If there are a ton of people walking here, then the clear path is 12 feet. If it's regional, I think it's 8 feet. If it's national, I don't know. There's one for 10 feet. And this intro 1444 would limit it so DOT can put a maximum clear path requirement of 8 feet. So that means that we would, on the global corridors, we would lose 4 feet of clear space, which I would be very sad about. I don't know. I guess we want this to go to SLAP.
Yeah, so I did have a quick conversation with Marisa, and they've been the ones overseeing it. There's a lot of overlap because, you know, we're probably more focused on the clearance issue, but they've been looking at that also, you know, when they get open dining applications. So I think it's a coordination issue with SLAP. We would have to talk to them and see how do we split this issue up, or do they just take the issue over as part of their review? But, you know, DOT is the agency, and that's our primary agency.
Yeah, I mean, for my perspective is that this is a sidewalk transportation issue, like how many people can walk on the sidewalk.
Yes.
So I think we should take it up, but I'm on both committees, so I'm happy that I can send an email and try to figure it out. And if it makes sense for transportation to do it, I could bring something to the next committee meeting.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really saying, no, we shouldn't be involved, but SLAP has to be.
Yeah,
involved.
I would, if we were to bring it to this committee, I think it would be very narrowly scoped to this very specific.
Right.
8 feet, 12 feet problem, not anything about year round, which is something people have talked about, or
Right.
Hours or whatever.
I mean, and the other part of it is like, we don't want any part of the process of approving open dining applications. That should just stay with SLAP, so. Okay. That was it. So I think the goal here is to make incremental progress on these things, but start scheduling them to come in front of the committee. I mean, honestly, this is kind of the most forward-looking part of what the committee is doing. And the rest of it just arrives on our doorstep, and we just have to deal with it, like these DDC presentations. So we're trying to find a balance between, you know, kind of the passive receiver of proposals from agencies versus, you know, being out there actively trying to deal with some of these issues. So So thank you in advance for your participation in that process. All right. Yeah, I mean, unless there's any other questions on any of this, or if anybody's moved to just sing about it and volunteer to work on things, that would be great. All right. Hearing no song, we will end the meeting. Thanks very much. Have a good Thanksgiving, everybody. I would say don't eat too much, but I'm not gonna listen to that.
Don't eat animals.
I know, exactly. I had a friend take me to lunch the Wednesday before Thanksgiving a few years ago at a deli. And I had this thing that was like, I don't know what, it was like a hot dog stuffed in a pita.